Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. So NVIDIA went up about 13% today. Congratulations to those who were patient and did not sell their stocks. In this video, let's discuss NVIDIA stock price movement for this week, and we'll also discuss about FOMC meeting and Mr. Powell's speech to understand if this can help NVIDIA stock go further up. Starting with the daily summary, Nvidia opened at 112.90. It made a high 118.34. It made a low 110.88 and it closed at 117.02. That is 12.81% up. And after hours, Nvidia is still up about 3.5%. So all good things about Nvidia today. As we noted yesterday that AMD was able to beat the earnings and the sales expectation, and also they gave a good revenue guidance for the future, and that helped AMD stock go up today and after hours yesterday, and same behavior I expected for Nvidia as well. So yesterday I gave you the worst case scenario based on my price projections. 97 was my minimum point, and based on the all-time Fibonacci levels, about 86 or 87 was the worst case, that Nvidia should not go below 87 or 88 before the next earnings. So Nvidia recovered today well ahead of our expectations. Now we have to think if the threat of Nvidia going down is over or is still there. In my opinion, unless Nvidia crosses 125, the threat is still there for Nvidia to go down before earnings. But overall, it looks like Nvidia got the positive momentum and it should carry this momentum tomorrow as well. Another two good news regarding Nvidia is the Meta stock, they were able to beat the earnings. Let's take a look. You see that they beat the earning by 7.90% and they beat the revenue by 1.99%. So Meta stock was up 2.5% today, and after hours, after the earnings, it's up about 6.88%. And the another good thing is FOMC meeting and Mr. Powell's speech. We'll talk about Mr. Powell's speech in a bit. Moving on, last 5 days, Nvidia up 3.51%. Last 1 month, Nvidia down 5.86%. And last 6 months, Nvidia still up 90%. Now let's take a look forward PE for Nvidia. Nvidia forward P at this point is 40.89, a little higher than the last week closing. It's a big jump today. Palantir 81.48, SMCI 22.47, not a big change from the last week ending. AMD 41.61, slightly above the last week forward PE. But if you take a look, Nvidia forward P is still well below the last 6 or 7 weeks of average. So that says that Nvidia is still underpriced compared to the historical price level. So there is some room for Nvidia to go further up based on the forward PE. Now let's take a look historical data analysis for Nvidia. You see cumulative percentage change for Nvidia for this quarter. At this point, Nvidia is up about 24% from the last earnings announcement. We observed that the second month after the earnings historically is a slower month, and also third month comparatively slower than the first month after earnings. And this was similar to the trend and the behavior we observed the last quarter. Let's take a look. So in last quarter, you see that after first month, we saw some slowdown on Nvidia stock price. But just before the earnings or a few weeks before the earnings, we saw that the positive momentum came back. So I had an opinion early this week and last week as well that before the earnings, we should see some positive momentum on Nvidia. It's a good thing that the positive momentum came back, and I hope that Nvidia should carry this positive momentum this week and sometime next week as well. By the end of the first month after earnings, Nvidia cumulative percentage change was about 35%. At this point, it's 24%, probably about 11% down. So there is some room for Nvidia to go further up based on the historical data analysis. Now, let's talk about Bullinger Bands. You see 90-day hourly interval chart on your screen and also Bullinger Bands. Yesterday and day before yesterday, we noted a stair pattern. You see that? One, two, three. And I had an opinion yesterday that if Nvidia carried the negative momentum, we might see another stair going down. But today, Nvidia got the positive momentum. There were multiple reasons behind it. As I discussed early in this video, now you see the gap between the upper band and the lower band is increasing, and that's a positive sign. And that tells that Nvidia got the positive momentum. Similar to what you see here, right? See here, Nvidia had some consolidation, got the positive momentum, then again it went up next week as well. So similar behavior I'm expecting. Probably it should carry the positive momentum tomorrow as well, and maybe next week also, based on the Bullinger Bands. Now let's take a look Fibonacci levels. You see Fibonacci levels on your screen. Yesterday we noted that the next support level was 100, and I had an opinion that it's a good support level. So good that Nvidia was not able to break that level and it went further up. The next resistance level at this point is 125. As I mentioned early in this video, this is a strong resistance level. So as I mentioned early in this video, 125 is a good resistance level. And this is a test case for NVIDIA. If NVIDIA can break 125, then the chances of NVIDIA going down below 100 before earnings is very minimal. And also, I mentioned multiple times this week and last week as well that overall market is going down plus Nvidia is part of the normal correction. I do not consider we are heading toward recession because the data does not support that. There was no change in the overall financial situation of the individual stock for AI and the overall macroeconomic indicator. So I see some analysts were spreading rumors that we are heading toward recession, and they were trying to spread panic and fear in the overall market. If they're just spreading their opinion without providing any relevant data or do some statistics on the data, then the analysis may not be reliable. Now, let's talk about FOMC rate cut meeting and Mr. Powell's speech. I'm not sure if any of you or some of you were able to listen to his speech and the question and answer session. I was lucky enough to listen to his full speech and also the question and answer session. If you can recall, right, if you listen to his speech, you can recall that there were multiple questions about the rate cut in September. But Mr. Paul was smart enough to not give any timeline for the rate cut. But overall, his tone was positive. He looked confident on the overall data. There was no depressing tone in his speech and the question answer session. So it looks to me that we are heading towards a rate cut anytime soon. If not September, then probably in October. And he also mentioned multiple times that overall job market is in a good shape and the inflation is going down as per expectation and the chances of hard landing is very minimal. So that tells that there is no ingredient at this point for recession. So there are multiple analysis on Mr. Paul's speech today. You see from Barron's, you see from investing.com, from Bloomberg, all of them, talking about the same thing what I mentioned. Overall, things look positive and there's no need to worry about or no need to go panic, right? We might see more corrections coming in before the elections, but that does not mean that that's part of the recession. Now, let's take a look at news regarding Nvidia. The very first one is about the rate cut that says Wall Street boosted by chip rally, Fed rate cut signals. So even if Mr. Paul did not mention about any timeline, but as I said, the overall tone was positive. We might expect the rate cut coming either in Q3 or early Q4. And then this one that says Nvidia sets conference call for second quarter financial results. And that is sometime August 28 at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And this one that says Nvidia's stock surges as Microsoft says the magic word. But Microsoft stock did not go up much today. Let's take a look. They have earnings also. So Microsoft stock went down about 1% and the earnings was not good. Let's take a look earnings. So they were able to beat the earnings by 0.23%, but that's not great compared with the previous quarters. And also they beat the revenue by 0.45%, and that's also not great. So overall, Microsoft was not able to provide good numbers. See that says AMD's Q2 earnings. 9 analysts remain positive on long-term prospects. So now this looks interesting. That says the stock market does not look like the dot-com bubble. It's something worse. Wow, let's take a look. So it says that everybody is talking about how tech stocks are acting. They did in the dot-com bubble. What they should be more worried about is how the S&P 500 is trading. And they said that it's trading like in 2007, just before the financial crisis. This analysis does not make any sense to me. The 2007 or 2008 financial crisis had different reasons. We cannot compare today's situation with 2007 and 2008. So that's why I say these kind of analysis we should stay away from. Now, this one looked positive that says Nancy Pelosi loads up on more Nvidia shares. That's a good thing for Nvidia stockholders, right? As I said last week, we should pay close attention to Mrs. Nancy Pelosi trades and transactions. So it looks to me that she's still confident on Nvidia outlook. Another thing we should pay attention is the employment data that's going to be published on Friday this week, and that's very important. That would tell us how the job market is behaving month over month. We'll talk about employment and unemployment data furthermore tomorrow, and I will present my historical analysis as well. I guess that's all about NVIDIA analysis and assessment for this week. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.